This is the Classic Auto Mall Show. Broadcast from the studios inside the Classic Auto Mall in Morgantown, Pennsylvania. Just 1 hour west of Philadelphia at Pennsylvania Turnpike exit 298. Featuring nearly 1,000 classic, vintage, and barn-find vehicles for sale under one climate-controlled roof. Now, here's your host, Classic Auto Mall president and the man with all the toys, Stewart Howden.
Hey, that's you.
Welcome, show number 256. No, I'm not in Monterey right now.
No?
Kind of ticked about that.
Doggone it.
Well, the wife has gone to visit the grandkids, and I didn't get to go to Monterey this year.
But
you know what?
You're stuck with me.
I'm not complaining too much because it was daggum expensive last year. And we learned a lot of things. Last year was our first year going, and we learned a lot of things to do, and we learned a lot of things not to do.
Yes, that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, because you can spend some money on things that maybe aren't, I tell you, the best car show in Monterey is the streets.
Yeah.
Just watching the cars that are parked on a Gullwing Mercedes parked overnight on the street next to our hotel. It's like, wow.
I could almost afford that, but I'd have to stay 100 miles away.
Exactly.
and even Steve has abandoned us today.
Yeah, Steve has abandoned us as well, too, but hopefully he's having fun. So how many cars in inventory right now, JR?
I have to query how many, or have we been good with new arrivals?
Light.
I'm going to go with 750 then.
722.
Ooh, we're draining. We have so much room.
We got plenty of room.
Please, bring your cars, folks.
Yeah, we need your cars. So let's get right to our guest. Joining us via Zoom, Mr. David Beattie, joining us from Slot Mods USA headquarters, I believe.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for being on the show today. We really appreciate it, David.
Well, thank you, Stewart. I'm honored to be on the show.
Well, I've been watching your progress of what you've done over the years, and it's nothing short of phenomenal. These slot mod tracks. If you go to your website, slotmodsusa.com, is that?
Well, slotmods.com will get you there.
Slotmods.com, right. And just the tracks you have built over the years. I mean, we all had scale electric tracks back as kids, but nothing like what you're building.
Yeah, sometimes we'll get questions about, is it plastic that we're using? But, we're using wood and we're hand painting it. And It's just everything you see is handcrafted and a lot of detail, a lot of thought, effort, time. So,
Sure.
Yeah, they're pretty special.
And the most expensive one, I believe, sold at was it at Monterey? Or where was that sold? $216,000?
Yeah, that was the Porsche 917, which was the full-size Porsche.
Right.
Number 20, Steve McQueen. That sold at auction for $216,000.
Wow.
My most expensive track, I would say track package, is $425,000, which...
Do you have an easy payment plan on that?
Actually, I do. And it just, I'm very fortunate on projects of that magnitude where we're building something that's dedicated to the Porsche family, which isn't for the Porsche family,
right?
But it's a gentleman who is a friend of theirs. So we're recreating the family compound, the original Gamund building where Dr. Porsche was building them. Right. So it's quite a project, and
Sure.
There's two tracks that flank it. One is the St. Moritz track, winter experience, and it's actually pulling people behind the cars like they're skiing.
Right.
And the other one is Targa Florio, which is small and it's in the desert, and
Sure.
so it's pretty cool.
Oh man, that sounds great. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that, and they're not. I mean, these things you just can't build overnight, right? I mean, they take some serious time. I imagine a track of that caliber has got to take you 4 or 5 months at least.
Of that caliber, we're at a year and a half.
Wow.
Because, the main one measures 14 by 24. The two smaller ones are, 13 by 8.
Right.
But in addition to that, I have two studios. I have about 12,000 square feet. I've got 7 craftsmen artists who I couldn't do this without. But in the other studio, we're building a 30 by 14 Targa Florio Miglia Miglia. And for those who aren't interested, these were races that were held in Italy,
right,
in the countryside. And this is the first time we're integrating a train system in it as well. And usually I stay away from that.
Right.
So this one's going to be pretty special. And this is actually the third project that I'm building for this gentleman.
Right.
So and that kind of clients are the best to have.
Sure, absolutely. And the dress that you put the people in these settings that you do on the tracks, is it obviously period correct for their dress and the hats that the men would wear and things like that? And that's got to be just researching all that and making sure you get all that right. It's got to be as much fun as getting the cars right.
Yeah, it is. I mean, there's a lot of research that goes into what they look like. My guys will show me stuff, and I go, nah, that just isn't right.
Right.
You know, getting the cars is pretty, I won't say easy, because we do create the cars through 3D printing, vacuum form modeling. So let's say, Stewart, you say, hey, I love Cobras, and I like this and that. If I can't find them, I'll make them for you. So it really is. But the research, like watching the movie Grand Prix over 50 times and Le Mans 50 times. And so early on, all that information wasn't out there when I started back in 2009, but now there's just so much.
Right, yeah. And it's funny, in an analog world, which is kind of what slot mods are more analog than digital, right? But man, the popularity of these things has gotten to the point where, you know, Zach Brown, you built one for McLaren. He actually had his disassembled and shipped over to England, he said. He loves that thing. Yeah.
So it's kind of an interesting story. Early on, Auto Week allowed me to get two full-size ads in there for an exchange of a track.
Wow,
and,
nice.
And in the first issue, I got a text or an email from a gentleman named Zach Brown, who I didn't know from Adam.
Right.
You know, so I look him up, and he's JMI, and he says, I want a track to fit in my house. When can you be here? And I'm like, well, where are you? And I'm in Indiana, Carmel, Indiana. I'm like, well, I'm in Detroit. And at the time, my brother-in-law had a small, tail dragger plane.
Right.
And we were going to fly down there. It was in November. And we had snow here up in Detroit. And I told Zach, hey, I can't make it. He said, well, I'll send you my jet. And I'm like, oh, yeah, sure, And so his assistant calls me and says, be to Pentastar at Oakland Airport. He sends his jet, about a 20-seater, and I get in it by myself and fly down. I meet with Zach. He's a wonderful guy.
Oh, yeah.
Was at his place for an hour. He showed me this empty room with wires hanging down, and he goes, toenail, whatever, nail fit something in this room. And we maximized the space and came back. I think on that one, I was able to do it in about 8 months. Right. And he was ecstatic, and it was, honor to build one for him at the time. Sure. And then he ended up holding a race night, and this kind of tie into Bobby Rahal. Right. And it was a Super Bowl party. And there's two parts of the story. There's a lot of gentlemen there who are clients and things like that. And I'm in one room with my guys and other guests racing, and there's a simulator in the next room. And all I can hear is people in there going, ring, rah, ring, rah. And I'm like, who's on that thing? And then everything changed. It was like a symphony of, gear shifts and
perfection.
All this, smooth. And I went and looked around the corner, and there was Bobby Rahal driving at Mid Ohio.
You're right. And he likes that track too, right?
Yeah. So he came into the room and he looked. He goes, "Oh my God!" And he walked up. He goes, "Hey, I'm Bobby Rahal," and I said, "I'm David Beattie." And he's looking at it. And he goes, "I got to go get something to eat before I buy one of these." And I just said, "Well, eat light,
Have a salad."
So. Eat a salad. So we had a great night of racing. And during that project, though, a lot of people think I just have stuff stacking up. And that was in the early days. And that was kind of the last project in the queue. So I'm driving home and I'm thinking, what am I going to do next? I really don't have, I have jobs finishing up, money's getting tight. And I get a call, and I always try to do voices. And I get this call, and it's, "Hey, Dave, it's Bobby. I want to get a track." And I'm like, "Okay." He goes, "Can you be to my house tomorrow?" And I'm like, "Where are you?" I'm in Indiana going this way. He's in Chicago. So I head up to his place. I think the place is still called the Auto. It was like a auto house.
Right.
There's a track up there just outside of wherever they shot the Blues Brothers movies.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'll have to. We'll figure it out. We'll put it on the screen.
I'm trying to think where it was.
Joliet.
Joliet.
Yeah,
Blues Brothers. That's what I'm thinking.
Gosh.
No, but we went to Bobby's, and he had a great place, and it was the same thing. He goes, he said, "I love Road America. I've got this corner," and he had his cars in there, which were really slick. And it was one of the, the term man cave
Right.
doesn't really pay homage to how beautiful these places are.
Oh my God. Yeah. They're not a couple of neon signs and a poster and one car in the corner. They're real serious the way these guys decorate these things, and because it's the only space in the house they get to decorate.
Yeah. Well, this was a trackside condo there.
Wow.
It made it where he had enough room. So we measured out, and he's on. I'm having trouble seeing it, so we ran out to the hardware store and got foam and carved the footprint, out of foam and laid it down. We ended up with a 22-foot long front straightaway, and then it triangled into the back corner, and we held the shape of the track pretty well.
Sure.
And the difference of it is Bobby's like, I go, yeah, we build it so it tears back up and you can race and see the cars. He goes, no, I don't want that. He goes, Road America is high in the front and then gets lower as it goes back and then comes back up. So I said, okay. So we built it and it came out beautifully, and he was happy, and
Sometimes the clients do know what they're talking about, right? You just never know. Sometimes, my dad was an architect, and not, always. Sometimes people had crazy ideas that did or didn't work, and other times they worked, and you said, "Oh, wow, that's pretty cool." Now, you come from a car background, right? How many siblings do you have? I keep getting conflict. One said 20, one said 10, one said 11.
Yeah, I have 11. I have 11 siblings, and I always like the joke that, we're Catholic, but we're not from the South. So take that however you want.
I grew up in the South. I know exactly how you take it.
Okay. But I'm the youngest. Well, I have a twin brother, which I'm the youngest.
Right.
We're the youngest of 11.
Wow.
So totally there's 7 boys and 4 girls.
Wow.
Yeah. And so as far as my car background, I got really exposed to car racing when my older brother Leo, he got a job with McLaren racing during the Can-Am Series 70-72 as it was wrapping up.
Right.
I have those years right.
Mm-hmm.
And so he was at Road America. He was with, Peter Repson and what's his name? Denny Holm and all of those guys. And he was on his way home from Road America. We live in Detroit. McLaren was in Livonia. And he pulled up. On the back of the truck was Peter's car, and they had some pit bikes. Well, we were young. All we wanted was the pit bike.
Didn't care about the race car, right?
Yeah, exactly. But in looking at it, it looked really cool. To me, it looked like a big orange Batmobile, just because of the fins and everything like that. And, it was really neat because he would travel around the races. He did Indy with Gordon Johncock, and he was doing that. And one of the stories I have from the takeaway with the Repson car, that he rolled out 4 tires, race-worn tires, and we put them in the garage. And we used to play with them. Like, they were just there.
Right.
And one day my dad came on and said, I want this garage clean, get rid of all this crap. And so I remember rolling to the road, like these 4 big, those tires are huge. And now I think about it, I'd love to still have them.
Oh,
but,
make a coffee table out of it or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, when you're in it and you're young, you just don't realize it. But I remember going out to the McLaren facility and seeing the cars lined up, which was just a real treat. Mm-hmm. When you're 8 or 9 years old.
Sure.
So but we did have slot car tracks at the house. We'd run them. My older brothers had them. We'd run bare chassis. We put lighter fluid on the track until our parents said, "What are you doing?" While he was on the road, we watched Speed Racer a lot.
Right.
But we always watched Indy. That was a big race for us.
Well, because that part of the world, Indy is that whole kind of region in there is so huge into motorsports, and especially the Indy 500 means so much to them. But how fun! So, what is the smell from most? I remember as a kid when you had the slot tracks, there was that burning smell that just. I don't know what, I guess the electricity or something with the track and the plastic or.
Yeah, a lot of what you're smelling is the engine. It's heating up the coils and all, because a lot of guys would rewind them. So you're picking up a scent from the motors because you're just running them around and around and around, and they get hot. And you can, sometimes I'll pick it up and I'll go, it just smells good, But that's what you're smelling. And a friend of mine, Scott Bader, who owns Electric Dreams, and he has the LA Slot Car Museum.
Right.
He created a beautiful room. He's the biggest collector in the world of slot car tracks.
Right.
I mean, cars, models, and he'd be a great guy to interview.
I'd love to have him, yeah.
His collection goes beyond anything you can imagine. And when he built his, and it's in his home, which reminds me of like a James Bond home. There's multiple levels, and it's just kind of crazy. And I've been very fortunate to see into these worlds, but he actually pipes in the smell of what the slot car places smelled like in the 60s. And it's kind of like a wintergreen. He says, well, they used it on the tires and everything. And I said, man, Scott, I thought I was not crazy, but
knee deep, right?
Yeah.
Wow. So growing up, y'all had all kinds of motorized. You have mini bikes and go-karts and all that stuff. With 11 kids, my God, your parents, man, cheaper by the dozen comes to mind when I think about having that many kids.
Yeah, I mean, we had mini bikes, we had go-karts, we even had a snowmobile. And, early on, my dad used to work 2 jobs to take care of us. And when I think about like at Christmas time, we never went without because there was always toys to keep us occupied. And we used to get the rod hockey, table hockey games. Yeah. And we'd destroy those. And the side note is I became a collector. So I have over 200 vintage table rod hockey games.
Wow. How cool is that?
I would get them. I'd repair them. My wife would be freaking out because the mailman's coming. He's got 5 new games in box, not new, old, new, but and so I went on to create my own hockey game that I made, and just because I always thought about like how much I love the slot cars and nostalgia, and so I made my own hockey table, which took about a year. And it's just beautiful, and it got to be one of Cigar Aficionado's gifts of the year.
How cool is that? Yeah.
Yeah. But one of the things, the backstory is I made this prototype. It took about a year to design it, and I took pictures of it. And I sent it out to 10 prior clients, and I said, hey, I'm only making 10. And they're like, yeah, I want them. So it was a really good day. And then after that, I'm like, oh, crap, how am I going to build these? Because, making one's different than the production line. So I was very fortunate, on that side of it. But yeah, plenty of toys growing up.
Sure. I had my dad, when I was 5 years old, he told me he was building a ping pong table for my mother for Christmas. I don't know why I would have ever even believed that, but I was 5, and he built a track with trees and grandstands and people, and the controllers were like they were like a little box with a steering wheel. And you turn the wheel, the further you turned it, the faster it went. And then he bought me the next year a Carrera aerial jet system, which were like these monorail jets. They were like a slot car track for airplanes. And so I was an only child of only children. I had good Christmases. Sorry.
Yeah, that's interesting. The one with the steering wheels would have come from AMC.
Right.
And then of course, Carrera comes out of Germany.
Right.
But what a lot of people don't know is where my business is in Clinton Township, Michigan. 2 miles down the road was where Model Car Products was. And they were a major model maker, plastic cars and you glue together.
Sure.
So MPC was the name of that. Then AMC, it was about 15 miles away. And that's where they were making that set that you had, the road racing set.
Right.
And then 2 miles from me, that way, was where the original Lionel Trains factory was.
How cool is that?
So must be something in the water.
I think there's something in the water there. And of course, the train world is a different world than slot car world. I mean, it was always more detailed usually than a slot car track you would see. People didn't go to quite the level that they would. I mean, I remember some neighbors that had train tracks that now I think back on them and I just go, what, my God, they had mountains and lava volcanoes and just crazy stuff that people built back in the day. But slot tracks in the 60s, people don't realize maybe that slot tracks in the 60s were huge. I mean, there were thousands of tracks at different places all over the country.
Yes, there were. They would, one time, the saying was there was one on every corner, like within 10 miles of each other. Here in the Detroit area, there was at least 5 that I know of, and I'm from the east side of Detroit.
Right.
My brothers were going because they were older, so I really wasn't. That popularity started to fade in the 70s.
Right.
So the tracks I started going to, they were kind of I used the word vacant, but people weren't using them because now Carrera was on the scene, Revell was on the scene, Scalextric, so
Sure.
you could do this stuff in your house. But, there's nothing more that I love is seeing old pictures of families together racing
Right.
on those ping pong tables. And there's just a whole vibe to it. And when I saw that, kind of the backstory, I'll jump into this real quick, is, people will say, well, how'd you get into slot cars? And I remembered how much I enjoyed racing them as a kid. And so one Christmas, I asked my wife, there was a Hamlicher Schlemmer catalog, with all the gifts in it.
I remember that as well.
Yeah, so I said, hey, I want a slot car track because there's a little Carrera kid in there. And she said, I'm not getting you that. I'm like, she's a wonderful woman, don't get me wrong. And, I said, okay. I said, well, that's all I want, And she's like, that's silly. So Christmas morning comes, my daughter, I think she's 1 at the time. And of course, there's nothing under the tree. And then I'm kind of dejected, I got a tie, I got all sort of crap. And she comes down the hall. And I open this box and there's that Carrera track. And I'm like, awesome. Well, I went downstairs, I sat it up on the floor, and it was I think it's 148 scale or 142nd, which was just too small.
Yeah.
And so fast forward, I ended up getting the 132nd, and then I ended up building a plastic track in my basement that was 120 feet long and digital.
God.
And
wow.
I just couldn't get enough.
Right.
And then I met a gentleman who had a wooden track, and I just reached out to him and said, hey, can I come to your house and see your track? And he's like, yeah, sure. And his name was Jimmy Addard. He's still alive. He hosts races, but he just had the biggest and most beautiful track. And I said, I want one of these. And he goes, yeah, sure. Everyone says that.
Yeah, sure.
And that within 3 weeks, he was over my house helping me build it. When I say helping me, he really was. And along with like 6 other guys who were displaced by the automotive industry in the crash of 2008.
Right.
So these guys were coming over, and we all built this thing. And I'm not a guy. I'm not a craftsman. I like to say if I had to build a table for them to operate me on, I would die because I wouldn't be able to do it. So I had that track in my basement, and I'd host races, and the Porsche Club of America would come over, and I was just really trying to network. And one day, Stewart, I sat down on my table. I said, I think this is a business. And I wrote to Auto Week, Automobile Magazine, Car and Driver, Road and Track. And I just wrote, to whom it may concern. My name is David Beattie,
Right.
and I make slot car tracks. And, I sent that off, and Auto Week responded, and Automobile responded.
Wow.
And they came out and shot my big wooden track. And that kind of got the ball rolling to where I thought, I really think this could be a business.
Sure. And little did your wife know by buying you that Carrera track that, fortuitous for her, and she didn't even know it, didn't even like the idea. I love it, though. I think, the thing that was cool about slot cars back in the 60s, I think, is that it made it affordable for everybody to race. It's not the same level as driving a real car. Just like a simulator today isn't the same as driving a real car, but it allowed everybody to feel that competition level. And I think, what a great way to perpetuate racing in the hobby and cars in general.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's just, and being able to, like today, look at cars, and there's so many different cars from different eras of racing. So when a client says to me, well, Bobby wanted these Indy cars, from his period,
Right.
I was able to source those.
Right.
And, in addition to that story with Bobby, though, on the way home, he called and said he wanted the track, and I gave him a price, and he's like, come on, Dave. So I said, okay.
Come on, Dave.
Because, there was no real established, I kind of had an idea what I needed. And so another gentleman, and some people may know his name, but Jerry Forsyth, he had the Indy team.
Yeah.
And he got together with Tony George, and the kart series changed names. And you got to forgive me because it went to Indy, then Indy Kart.
Something. I know the time period. I just can't remember exactly the nomenclature of what it was exactly. But Indy car and Sprint car or something like that. I can't remember.
Yeah. So within 15 minutes, Jerry called me and said, hey, I saved your ad from Auto Week. I want Road America. And I'm like, where are you? He goes, I'm in Inverness, Chicago. So I made it one day. I made it 2 trips up there and sold 2 tracks, and I was in business. So it was it was truly a blessing.
Sure.
And I have found that in this niche business, I can go 3 months without a call,
Right,
and then I'm
right.
like, I feel irrelevant. I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah.
But
yeah. I love that though, that, and if I wanted you to build me your mid-level track today, what are you looking at? Is it a year time frame, 6 months, a year?
Well, based on, pricing and timing is really just based on, the scope of the job.
Sure.
So a mid-sized track, let's just say, I'm going to say 8 by 13 or 8 by 16. It's going to take me 9 months. If it was the only track I'm working on,
Sure.
that can be shortened. But right now I have 7 tracks currently on the floor being built. I've got 3 in the queue. And one of the other things that I'm doing, I do these big dioramas.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just an extension of, my desire to creativity and add more to a gentleman's space. And those take about a year, and they're about $125,000.
Right.
But we're building everything. Like one gentleman, he loves the Rat Pack, so we're building the Rat Pack with Frank and with paper mache characters this tall. They're 2.5 feet tall.
Wow.
So there's he loves Aunt Margaret, and she's almost full size, sitting on the front of a Ferrari.
Oh, man.
So there, as we start to put these out, I really want to show these gentlemen, because these car communities, they're just blowing up all over the place.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, auto vaults here and this and there, and I've got to know a lot of these guys. And but I feel that, and I mean, no disrespect to anyone, but I've seen enough gas pumps, and a lot of that kind of what you're used to seeing.
Sure.
And I'm more about let me tailor your space, because I have a lot of resources, and I call it beyond the slots when I'm making these things. Like, okay, I make slot cars, but beyond the slots, I can do this as well.
Well, I'm with you. I mean, every time, most of these man caves that we talked about all look exactly the same. They've got the same neon. They've got the Bob's Big Boy in the corner. They've got a Betty Boop. They've got a couple of pedal cars. They're all the same theme that you have. And I'm not a big fan of neon around cars, because I think it distracts from looking at the car, especially if it's a lighter colored car and you've got red and green and all these colors of neon reflecting off of it. It kind of distracts to my taste. And that's why I love like black and white, like the car behind me. I love that kind of non-distractive art, but I love the diorama stuff. And I saw you were making ping pong tables with like cool faces, different themes on the table itself.
Yeah. The first one I did was a full-size ping pong table. One of my clients from Thermal Club, he had a original BMW M1. It's kind of like the shark color. It's the most photographed BMW M1 series car.
Sure.
It was a 1971, 81. I get him confused.
Sure.
So he loves the car. So we took a picture of it, and one of my artists hand painted it on top of a ping pong table. We then covered it in 1/2-inch acrylic, and I got carbon fiber tennis paddles, really tricked it out, and he loved it. So that gentleman has a slot car track. He's got one of my hockey tables. He's got a ping pong table, which is really, really cool. But then I started developing smaller ping pong tables that you could get, like with that image that you have behind you on the wall. I can get that printed and put on a small ping pong table. And the cool thing about those are you can hang them on the wall with art, because I line the back of them with LEDs.
Right.
And there's just a slight gap between them. And they're nice pieces. But then when you want to play ping pong, or guys want to play, games or have cater, it's dual purpose.
Right.
And, the price point on those aren't a lot. I really haven't nailed it down. Some people say, well, you could get this much. And I'm like, I can't have everything be so expensive that
right.
I'm just sitting there waiting like, okay, someone's got to want it.
When's another rich guy coming along?
Yeah, exactly. And so I'm always thinking, ping pong, hockey, slot cars.
Yeah, there's
stuff like that.
It just seems like there's a whole variety of things that you can do from a design standpoint and make cooler. From a conference table or anything like that. You could make. I mean, you see some of these conference tables in some of these auto executive places, and you think, oh my goodness, it's amazing what they have and what they've built and the models and and all of that, and then the custom chairs that go. I mean, it just you just keep going down rabbit holes. There you go.
Yeah, it's I mean, like right now I'm working with M1 Concourse, which is a very nice event center up in Pontiac, Michigan. And we're building 2 large tracks for that facility. And when I say large, they're 20 by 9. 2 of them,
Wow.
They're going to kind of shoehorn together, and it's going in their X Center. But at the X Center, they also have 8 simulators. They have a go-kart track. They have a large, they have a racetrack there too.
Right.
Like the members in the condos can come and, Al Unser Jr. was there for their, I'm going to forget the name now, their checkered flag ball.
Right.
And, so you see all these vintage race cars, but the facility also has a very large full-size for off-roader dirt track, not racing, but just, kind of testing it out. So that's coming up in October. So there's just some amazing projects.
Sure.
But my point there was they've asked me, because Paul Zlotov came in and when people come into our place, I'm like, man, this is so cool.
Right.
So it represents itself very well. And he goes, can you design, our building? And I said, well, I can help you, but I'm not a full-time, interior designer.
Right.
But right now I'm working with him to hang half-scale Formula Ones in this circular stairway. So as you go up, you'll see a F1 as you go up.
All the way around, right? Oh, how cool is that?
It's like a Formula One chandelier.
See, there you go. There's just another rabbit hole right there. And you're also working on a project with Rob Ida, who's an amazing guy, on the GM Futurliner. Well, tell me about that.
Yeah, I had a gentleman reach out to me, Matt Kent, who purchased, I think it's a 1939 Futurliner, and it was in really bad shape. And so he reached out to me and said, hey, I have this project. I'd like you to work on it. So Rob Ida has it down in Jersey. And, again, Rob's fantastic.
Sure.
I mean, so I said, I got to fly down and see this thing, the size and scope of it. So right now, Rob is pretty far along with the complete restoration of it. And my part on it is we're doing the future city, like what's the city of the future going to look like. And so we actually replicated what they would use when they'd go to these large festivals. There'd be 13 Futurliners parked around, and these things would fold out, and you could see like, hey, here's what the future is going to be.
Right.
And so we're showing current city, and then on that same platen, there's current city in the back. There's a futuristic city. Now, there's no slot cars running around because it would just be too difficult.
Oh, sure.
But,
sure.
It's 6 feet wide, 12 feet long, 6 feet deep. So we're doing that. And then on the other side, when you lift open the Futurliner, we're building one of the areas where they came, the Parade of Progress.
Right. I remember that.
And
I
so
remember
we
reading.
have 13 custom Futurliners being made in Austria. They're all slot cars. And there's a slot car track that goes around. So we're really recreating that vignette of what was going on there and everything. So it's a piece to tell a story. And I think Rob's going to have it finished sometime. He wants to put it in the Macy's Day Parade.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, exactly. Going down. Oh, absolutely. So he's still working on it. It's summertime. All the car shows are going on. But it's I feel honored to be a part of it.
Absolutely.
Because they were made in the Detroit area. So I consider that more of a legacy piece.
Sure. I think that's fantastic. And like you said, it just opens up other things that you see and do. And 1/32 scale, is that, and that's the perfect scale in your mind, and that's why you use it? What?
Yeah. I like 1/32 scale. So if you go back in the 60s, they were really racing 1/24 scale on those big tracks, and the guys were making their own cars. It started out as 1/32, and then it went to 1/24. But at the 1/32 scale, you have a wider variety of cars that you can get.
Right.
And the tracks don't need to be as wide, so you can get more switchbacks and such. So sitting in my office here, I can see my display boxes, and I have probably over 300 slot cars on display. But they're inexpensive. I mean, Carrera is really the only one that's making out of the box 1/24 scale cars, but the quality is beautiful.
Right.
So it's kind of like, you get there's a gentleman who will collect a bunch of die-cast cars, and I'm like, look, I can get a slot car that looks almost as good as that,
Right.
and you can race it.
Right.
So for me, 1/32nd scale, you can fit more lanes. You can get a wider variety of liveries and cars from the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, and current models that come out like 2 years ago, because it takes time for the tooling. So 1/32nd analog is the way I go,
Right.
because it doesn't limit me to say, well, I'm just digital and no, I can't run that brand of car and I got to
Right.
find the cars. Now, you can put digital chips in them, but gentlemen of our generation, they just want to plug and play.
Right.
And I can't build a track and fly across the country and go, Stewart, you're saying my track's not working.
Right.
And I come and I pick up the car and I flick the switch on the bottom and I put it on there and I'm like, see ya.
Yeah.
So,
but that
analog is just
happens.
the way-
That happens so often with digital things and electronics and all of that. I guess modern technology. If you could figure out how to make the friction of the tires power the cars or whatever. Of course, we're trying to figure that out in regular cars down the highway. If you could repower an electric car. So I got to ask you, what's your 1-to-1 scale daily driver?
I drive what do I drive? A 2024 Toyota 4Runner.
Oh, nice. I love 4Runners.
Yeah.
I've always
So
been a
that's
big
what-
fan of 4Runner. And you did an off-road track, didn't you? Like a Paris to Dakar replica track, or how did that? I read somewhere about that.
Yeah, we're currently still working on that track.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, so that's going to be a good one. But I'm up in Michigan, and I drive 6 miles a day to and from work. I also, I did own a Datsun 510
Oh, nice.
in the brie colors,
Yes.
which was really cool.
Of course.
I currently have a 1981 Brat.
A Subaru Brat. Yeah.
Yeah. So I kind of cycle through cars. I just finished up putting my daughter through college. So I've always had these other kind of things going on where my money was being funneled. And I'm proud to say that she is a communications designer for Converse tennis shoes out in Boston.
Oh,
so
fantastic.
yeah, she's always been my cornerstone of motivation, as well as my wife. But
Sure.
she was always trackside with me with the slot cars and such. But my brand of cars, I look at 911s all the time,
Sure.
and could I have one? Sure, but I'd want to drive it more than is possible here in the state of Michigan.
Sure, that's absolutely. I totally understand that, and it's nice when you can get them through college, and now you can have a little extra spending money, so you can go have some
absolutely.
fun, have some fun with some stuff. And I got to tell you, when I was researching you to do the show, the greatest picture I found of you was you sitting on the track, on the corkscrew, with a pretend car with a pretend steering wheel in your hand. What a cool! How did you pull that off? That was so cool.
Oh, I was out in Monterey for doing an installation, and when we went to Laguna Seca, and the gate was open, and so we drove around, and the guy stopped us. I said, "Oh, I'm here. I'm doing some research for Jim Farley with Ford Motor," and he goes, "Oh, okay. No, I already built Jim's track 2 years ago."
Of course you did. Absolutely.
Yeah.
How funny
So
is that?
we got up to the top of the corkscrew, and one thing I found out is that before a race, well, back then they'd have the local men who were incarcerated come out and rake all of the runoff areas.
Right.
So it was kind of interesting to see, because they're all in orange and they're raking and stuff, and I'm sure they enjoyed it.
Right.
But so I said, look, I got to get this picture, because it reminded me of the old Shell gas station commercials where the guys were sitting on the road and they were jutting around.
I remember
So,
that. I'd forgotten about that.
yeah, but that is one of my favorite photos. It's just a fun one. And I was doing research on the paint color,
Right.
and with Farley, I had a friend send me a coffee can full of the dirt from Monterey, from Laguna Seca.
And that would be the
So,
color that you, that's,
Yeah.
I love that. Well, we could certainly do this all day. I've already kept you over a little bit. I know you got things to do today, but really appreciate having you on today, David. It was a lot of fun talking to you, and I'm sure we could have you back and do a whole nother show talking about more stuff just like this.
Yeah, I got tons of stories. If you can't sleep, call me. I'll put you out.
I love it. Better than counting sheep, right?
There you go.
When we return, we'll continue with the Classic Auto Mall show here in just a couple minutes. We'll see you then.
Whether you want to buy or sell a classic, collectible, or special interest vehicle, you need to visit the Classic Auto Mall website for more information. If you're looking to buy, you can easily search our inventory of more than 1,000 vehicles on the web at classicautomall.com.
Yeah! And here we are back with the Classic Auto Mall show from beautiful Morgantown, Pennsylvania. My wife and son have just left me for the week.
Oh.
Gone to Oklahoma to visit the grandkids, although it's 104 and feels like 190 apparently, or something like that. And it's going to be hotter than hell. And maybe I'm not missing it so bad. Shh, don't tell anybody. Anyway, what a great guest. David Beattie builds an amazing product. If you need something for your family rec room, then he's your guy. I mean, it's just unbelievable what he's been able to do.
I like things that aren't the size they're supposed to be. That's why I always like model cars.
Yeah, exactly.
And when they do the little people and the trees and, oh, man,
it's just an amazing
signs.
Just everything, and everything is period correct and very well researched and thought out, and they try to get it all just 100% right.
And he's got electronic scoreboards, so it'll keep track of your laps. And
it's not digital. It's not running on some kind of weird digital thing that costs more money, and it's like he loves the analog part.
Yeah, and you hit it just right with the smell of the electric motors.
It smells so good.
I had a Slot track.
That smelled so good. So, where, might you ask, did we sell cars this week?
I am asking where.
All right. How about Mooresville, Pennsylvania, Downingtown, Pennsylvania, Iowa City, Iowa, Lake in the Hills, Illinois, York, Pennsylvania, Blairsville, Pennsylvania, Greenfield, Wisconsin, Port St. Lucie, Florida, Shillington, Pennsylvania, Scottsdale, Arizona, Anthem, Arizona, Trenton, New Jersey, Newark, Delaware, Sharon, Wisconsin, Quakertown, Pennsylvania, Downingtown, Pennsylvania, Montverde, Florida, and 4 times to Sunny Isles Beach, Florida. That's where we sold cars this week. Thank you, Homer. And we're still selling like crazy, and the consignments have picked up, and then they slow down, and then they pick up, and then they slow down. We'll get 16 on Monday and 0 on Tuesday. and it's making me crazy because there's no rhyme or reason for it. If there was rhyme nor like if it's snowing, I get you may not be bringing your car in. I understand that. That makes total sense. But when it's a sunny day on Tuesday and a sunny day on... I'm starting to get a rant going here.
Yeah.
Sunny day on Monday, sunny day on Tuesday. Why are 16 cars coming in on Monday and none coming in on Tuesday? Somebody please give me that answer.
Well, especially when somebody's been talking about bringing it in. It's like, perfect time now. Weather's good,
And that's that's the interesting thing about what we do. We've met so many people over the years, and we've given out so many of our consignment forms and brochures and say, when you're just ready, just bring it in, fill this out and bring it in, and we'll take it during our normal business hours. And people just show up after 2 and 3 and 4 years sometimes, and they just say, here I am. Here's my car. And you think, gosh, I think the worst is when the guy's got a 85 Mustang, and he goes, you remember my car? And yeah, sort of, maybe not. Anyway, how about new arrivals this week?
How about them?
Speaking of consignments, the 1953 Austin Healey 104 BN1 Roadster, charcoal gray metallic over red. Great color. Ground up restoration, Heritage Trust Certificate, which means that's a certificate that you get from the factory that tells you what the car was born with. Kind of like a build sheet or a PHS docs or things like that. It shows what the car came with, what was engine number, all that kind of thing.
I did not know that.
Yes. Numbers matching 2660cc 4-cylinder, 3-speed manual with overdrive. Stunning presentation on this car. Love these Austin Healeys. If you haven't driven one, you haven't enjoyed one, they're a lot of fun to drive. They're usually more powerful than most of the European offerings from that same time frame, and they're a blast to drive. So anything from the 50s and 60s, Austin Healey is pretty darn cool.
Yeah.
Next on the list is the 1969 Chevrolet Malibu Chevelle hardtop, ermine white over black. It's got a 350 cubic inch replacement engine with a Vortec V8, 200 R4 4-speed automatic transmission with a 10-bolt axle, and air conditioning might serve well for Kathy out there in Bixby, Oklahoma.
My favorite Chevelle, 68, 69, 70.
They're just all... I love Chevelles. Chevelles are so cool. They're maybe redneck a little bit, but that's okay because I'm a little bit of a redneck anyway. So.
I had one in Michigan.
There you go. Do they have rednecks in Michigan?
Oh, yeah.
I know they have them here in Pennsylvania.
Yes, sir.
And by golly. Next on the list, I love this body style. One of my favorite of the later model 70s Jaguars, the 1970 1974 Jaguar XKE Series 3 Roadster.
Wow.
Old English white over red interior. Numbers matching 5.3-liter V12, 4-speed manual. Final year of the XKE, and this is a wonderful driving car. And this was the last year. I mean, to have a 74 Jaguar, either at XJ12 or a XKE V12, was really something special. You know, it was somebody who knew what they wanted. They didn't get the 6-cylinder. They went for the 12-cylinder. They knew what they wanted, and that's what they were going to get, by golly.
And the headlights get there 5 minutes before you do it. That hood is so long.
That hood is long, and of course, the bumperettes that they had to put on for the crash test are big black knobby looking things. So that car is a stunning presentation of that 74 Jaguar, though. Another new arrival is the 2011 Aston Martin Rapide sedan. This thing looks like a two-door until you look close and you realize it's got 4 doors, by golly. Concord blue over blue haze and cream truffle is the color.
Wow.
27,000 actual miles, 2-owner Aston, dealer service, 6-liter, double overhead cam, 470 horsepower, V12 as well, with a 6-speed automatic transmission. Comes with the original window sticker, so you know what the car was born with, documents everything that came with the car, all the options that you got. If you got something, a special color, something bespoke with a different kind of clock in the center or whatever you wanted to do, that'll all show up on that, and it's nice to have it. Don't throw anything away when you buy a car, ever.
Nope.
Oh, that sounded good. Was that a Chevelle starting up?
Sounds like.
It sounded pretty close. So, and last but not least, love this car. 1978 Dodge Magnum XE 2-door hardtop, mint green metallic over green, 20,473 actual miles on this car. How many Dodge Magnums do you see from back in the day? You just don't see many of them. They were rode hard and put up wet, I imagine. But this one's a time capsule survivor. It's got the numbers matching 360 cubic inch V8, and the A904 3-speed automatic is numbers matching as well, and very nicely appointed. And that's our new arrivals for the week. Give us more so we can talk about your car on the Classic Auto Mall Show. And when we return, we'll be joined by our friend Mr. Keith Martin, publisher of Sports Car Market Magazine. We'll see you in a couple of minutes.
The Classic Auto Mall has more than 1,000 vehicles for consignment in our huge 8-acre climate-controlled showroom. It's a real indoor mall. If you'd like to know all the advantages of buying and selling a car through consignment, the information is available on our website, or you can talk to a classic car specialist who can answer all your questions. It's easy, safe, convenient, and it doesn't matter where you are. We sell worldwide. See our huge selection of classic and collectible vehicles at classicautomall.com.
And we're back with the Classic Auto Mall Show, Classic Auto Mall Studio, Morgantown, PA, with our good friend, Mr. Keith Martin, publisher of Sports Car Market Magazine, with a fancy new background. Look at you, man.
And, I ordered a special.
That is impressive. See, mine doesn't
thanks very
change.
much.
Mine looks the same every time. So
Well, you need to color yours a little.
well, I'm going to work on it. The paint by number kit is on its way, and the number 1s are right here, and the 2s are here, and
I thought that car was supposed to be 96.
Yeah, well, it's supposed to be, but you know how things go. So, your latest blog is unequivocally the best Monterey guide there can possibly be in the history of possibly being.
Stewart, 102 pages.
Wow. And people don't realize how important it is to have your guide. When I went last year to Monterey for the first time, to have that in my back pocket was so nice to be able to have. It's a smaller size. It's not the size of a magazine, so you can carry it with you easily. And it was so beneficial on where to eat, where to stay, what to avoid, when the traffic, just everything you need to know is right there in that concise little guide.
Well, and I appreciate your saying that. We started it 21 years ago.
Wow.
Because we found out we couldn't get all of Monterey and all of the magazine into the same issue.
Right.
So we thought the way to do it was to break out Monterey completely. It's turned out to be very successful for us.
But
We put 50,000 copies on the peninsula.
Wow. And
so they're in every hotel, every restaurant, but they give you a roadmap.
Right. Yeah.
With phone numbers, emails, locations. We have a thing called a histogram, which is it's the whole weekend by hour almost.
Yeah, I love that. And, and it's such I love it when something can be good for marketing and good for business and also invaluable to people attending, just like this is. And that's why the hotels would even want it in their rooms, because it's a great benefit. I can imagine that many people who've never even read the magazine who go to Monterey see it and go, oh my God, this is fantastic. I'll have to subscribe to this magazine.
Let me get your Visa number just a little bit later.
Well,
We're having a 10-for-1 special today.
Nice. I like that. I've been a subscriber advertiser for, gosh, off and on for probably 20 something years, I would guess, early 2000s, and still my favorite magazine. It's funny how nothing has eclipsed it in all these years. You would think by now somebody would have knocked you off your throne, but they have not done so. They still don't even come close.
Now, Stewart, I really appreciate your advertising and your participation. It means a lot to me. We've had so many advertisers who have been loyal because they get results.
Sure. I mean, ultimately, that's what it has to be. I love being in your magazine because I've always loved it, and it was always just it was a barometer of where we were in business-wise when we had something to put in your magazine that made sense. But at the end of the day, it's got to sell a car or two. It's got to get a consignment, and it has to for all of your advertisers. And your advertising is as strong now, it seems to be, than it's ever been.
Well, I've always believed, Stewart, that if the advertisers are part of the car culture, it's what we call endemic.
Right.
So ads for cars and stuff like that work just as well as editorial in my magazine.
Absolutely.
You read the ads just like you read a story.
I am disappointed if I go. It's like going to an event and they don't have vendors that sell car stuff and kitschy stuff and whatever stuff. I miss that. I want ads that are geared towards stuff that I'm interested in, just like I want vendors that are geared towards stuff I want to buy when I go to an event.
It's interesting to say that because when I was MC at Concorso Italiano for 10 years, and when in the early years, there were vendor booths all up and down the fairways, probably 150 of them. And the best part of the day was just going from booth to booth to booth.
Yeah.
Oh, you have a key fob for a 58 Alpha. Oh, my God. Thank you.
Glory, glory.
Yeah. But I do think with events in general, having car-related vendor booths is a plus to an event.
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't look at it, and I think some people think, oh, they're trying to sell me. No, I want to be, there's stuff that I don't know exists out there that I want to buy, whether it be a cool office chair that they have that the company makes those, or whether it be some artwork, or whether it be a book that you want, or a hat, or a T-shirt, or whatever. I want to, because I may not be able to afford that $1 million Ferrari that's sitting there, but I can certainly afford the $30 hat.
Or the model.
Absolutely. To put on my shelf and dream about one day. Hopefully I'll be able to afford that car. And here's a scale model of it, and it's $200 versus $2 million. I like
Stewart,
that math.
Let's stop for a second and make some Pebble Beach predictions.
Ooh, okay.
And this is going to air after Pebble, right?
Well, the day before, so we'll have to really, and it's going to go on copy today, so today is the day.
Okay, well, here's my prediction.
Yeah.
My good friend Dave Kinney has got his Avante prepared for the first ever time that an Avante has been on the lawn at Pebble Beach.
I think that should win Best in Class, don't you?
I think it should win Best in Class, too.
I think we'll predict that one. Avante.
He's been loyal to those cars, and when I first met him 30 years ago, he needed hubcaps for Avantis, and the minimum order was like 100. So he ordered them, and he turned half of them into clocks.
I like that entrepreneurial spirit that he has there, right?
No, I'm pleased. I mean, I want to be truthful here for a second. Sure. I was looking at Avantis, thinking of getting one, and I talked to somebody, and they said, it's got a Studebaker Lark suspension.
Right. And that's not a compliment.
No, it's not. It's not even a Mustang. That car. So first of all, let's both agree it's beautiful.
Absolutely beautiful car, and especially in that beautiful seafoam green or whatever that bluish green color is. I don't remember the exact name of it, but it's a stunning car in that color. That, and then when you have the supercharger on it,
it becomes a car that can move. It's not a sports car.
Right. It's not. And it wasn't designed to be a sports car. It was designed to go fast in straight lines. And I think there's a lot of cars that are like that weren't necessarily sports cars, but they needed a supercharger or a turbocharger, not to necessarily just because they needed a little more extra oomph. The cars weighed a lot back then.
Yeah. And Studebaker was working with extremely limited resources.
Right. Yeah.
So, but that's the first, so I think that's going to be a high point of the weekend in a lot of ways. because you don't see. When was the last time we saw American cars of that era at Pebble Beach?
I don't remember seeing them. There was a '73 Buick it was a Colonnade with a swivel seat and all that. It was at Audrain, I think, and a couple others. And it's a beautiful car, 1973 Buick. And I think it should be on the lawn at Pebble. And I don't think that takes away from the Duesenbergs and the pre-war Ferraris and post-war Ferraris and all that. I think it adds to it. I think it's something that makes sense. And hopefully this will be the entree that will allow it to continue.
Yeah, Buick Rivieras would look great on the field.
Absolutely, 100%. And I like the 64s and I like the 73s. I'm sorry to say it, the Boat Tails 73s with the big 455 are pretty cool looking cars. And
So do we think it'll be a pre-war car that wins?
Yeah, I don't know. What do you think? I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence. I
really liked it when who was the CEO of Microsoft? His Ferrari.
Bill Gates. Yeah. Oh, Steve Ballmer.
No. John Shirley.
Oh, John Shirley. Yeah.
He took his Ferrari, he raced it at Laguna Seca on Saturday, showed it at Pebble on Sunday, and won Best of Show.
Yeah, and that was the first
post-war since the very beginning of the show.
Since the very beginning of the show. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? What do you think is going to win this year?
I have two reactions: sleek or ornate.
Yeah.
So will it be like the Ferrari and be shapely, or will it be one of the pre-war things that looks like a building run amok with lights and chrome and all sorts of stuff? I mean, I don't have a good feeling for that. I think that you have to almost be there, look at the tour, because it'll start to come clear who the top five are.
Yeah.
And the big question will be the surprise element, because most of the cars that win Best of Show tend to be kept under wraps and prepared in secret.
Yeah, and you don't see them ahead of time, and then you see them that day, and then all of a sudden you go, wow, that's stunning, and that's a no-brainer. And there's been some no-brainers out there. There's been some scratch-your-head ones as well, too. But, that's okay. There's going to be new leadership after this year at Pebble. So will things change or stay the same? I don't know. Who knows? And
in an interview with the new leader, he said he thought the music at Pebble Beach was funereal.
I have no idea what that word means. Is that funeral-like?
Yes, it is.
Is that like elevator music?
No, funeral, and so on. It'd be like when they're pulling the casket of the dead president down.
Da, 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 da.
So I'm curious to see what he means by that. Are we going to have like little Italian quartets playing in the future?
Guys going up right up behind you with a little fiddle and a violin, not a fiddle. Excuse me. Yeah. Well, we shall see, and we will know next week, and we'll have to continue our discussion about this next week on the Classic Auto Mall Show with our good friend, Mr. Keith Martin. Thank you.
So remember, sleek or ornate.
We got you. We'll catch you next week on the Classic Auto Mall Show. We'll see you then. Take care.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.
Here's a special offer from Sports Car Market Magazine. Get a 6-month subscription for just $19.95 by going to sportscarmarket.com/test drive and the number 6. That's sportscarmarket.com/test drive 6. If you're a buyer, a seller, or just general classic car enthusiast, publisher Keith Martin says,
we've been around almost 40 years. It's the Wall Street Journal of the collector car world.
Activate your 6-month trial of Sports Car Market Magazine by going to sportscarmarket.com/test drive 6. Offers for a limited time. Be in the know with Sports Car Market. The Classic Auto Mall Show with their host, Stewart Howden, executive producer, Steve Sethier, produced and engineered by yours truly, J.R. Russ, video editor, Randy Lammy. Available on classicautomall.com, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. Music courtesy of the Pat Travers Band. For tour dates, contact, and stuff, visit pattravers.com. Produced by Car Smarts Media. Copyright all rights reserved.